and welcome to tonight's episode of The Invisible Woman. Tonight, we are talking about empty spaces, coping with the loss of a loved one. I know that everyone, I'm sure everyone has experienced losing a loved one. I know I have, and it's difficult. Sometimes it just feels like it's hard to go on, but you can, you will, you shall. We're going to talk about ways that you can cope, ways that you are able to thrive and survive and get past that. Stay tuned for more Invisible Woman. We are in for a great show tonight. Grab your friends, share this video. Get ready for an amazing episode. Hello and welcome back to The Invisible Woman. I have my guest here, Miss Laura, and we are talking about empty spaces, coping with the loss of a loved one. I understand that you had death occur recently, and you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yes, I think definitely losing a loved one or, someone close, whether it be a spouse, a parent, a child, a pet, anything that has some sort of, a person has meaning to you, It definitely gives you that process of grievance. And I think, given the circumstances, when you go through the grievance, you tend to kind of feel lost and you really feel empty and you have really nothing that you can fill in because you're just so busy with the stressing and the loss and the emotions that kind of carry with it.
Okay. Well, I know you were talking like in general. So was there like when you think about the loss of a loved one, is there somebody specific that comes to mind like right away, like that person or that loss was like almost to a breaking point where you just thought, I can't go on?
Oh, most definitely. That would definitely be my parents. My mother, February of 2016, and my father of January 2018. I think, those are the top two losses that I've had in my life just because, they were the rock, they were the foundation of my family, our family.
Yeah.
And, it was definitely a tough time, but I mean, it's been a couple of years and I feel at this point I can finally say it took me to this time to really hope.
There's not a healing time frame. There's not you have to be at this point by this time. There's not a time frame for that. It's just that it's a process. And sometimes it takes, it just depends on the person. It just takes a while to get where you are. I lost my grandmother. And she was the rock of our family. When I say the rock, it was just like, when I lost my grandmother, it just seems like the family just kind of started doing their own thing. Nobody was gathering anymore. Nobody was, coming together to celebrate. And we would definitely get together like for her birthday, and her birthday was July 4th. And we'd get together and it would be a whole big thing. Like it was so big to where like, it was bigger than Christmas. Mm-hmm. Like people wouldn't even come home for Christmas, but they would come home for my grandmother's birthday and they would celebrate. And it was amazing. And it was always a good time. And then when she left, it just stopped. Everything stopped. And it's, even now, it's just kind of like it's hard to get the family together. So is that something that, you experience with, like not just losing your mom, losing your dad, but almost like losing your family too?
Mm-hmm. Yes. Many times, with my family, especially being a traditional Hispanic family, it was always mom and pop. Mm-hmm. Like we'd visit them. And the only time I'd see my uncles or my other family members was because they were also visiting my mom and pop.
Yeah.
And I am very happy to say that at least, after losing, my parents, I feel like my family with my brothers, my uncles, all our siblings, that we united and really preserve so that way we can keep their memory alive.
I like that. So seems like your family actually bonded together and decided, we're gonna stick together and become closer and support each other during this time of loss. Except my family seemed to be doing the opposite. It was like, everybody's decided we're gonna go here, I'm going there, we're doing our own thing, and I'm glad to see that you have that strong family bond that you guys were able to pull through that situation. Stay tuned. We'll be right back with more Invisible Woman right after this commercial break. Welcome back to The Invisible Woman. We are talking about empty spaces and how to how to cope with dealing with the loss of a loved one. I still have my guest, Miss Laura, here, and so we're talking about during the break the ways that that were not so good that you were dealing with the loss of a loved one. You want to share?
I know it's you react, of course, anyway when you lose someone. Mm-hmm. The beginning, my life, my decision to cope with it was not very, if you would think, appropriate or however, but I just remember the news when I lost my father, just because he was the last one. My mother was suffering from an illness, and her disease declined after 8 years, so I felt more of like a relief because she was no longer in pain. But my father's death was a little bit more unexpected. So it's like the same kind of foundations. It's just like my father's death was a little harder, and I just remember I bought a bottle of Juarez tequila, and like not even in an hour it was gone. And it was the only way that I can try to numb the grievance and numb the pain more effectively. But you wake up hungover and worse.
Yeah. So I've seen that a lot too, where it's just kind of like you start drinking or you start, doing some type of substance just to, like you said, numb yourself to like not feel that pain. But then what happens is that you're hurting your body in the process. You're hurting yourself, because when you wake up, they're still gone. You still have to deal with that. Like, where are you going to put that? Where does that hurt go? And it's to the point, like, I remember when I lost my aunt, and she was, I was close to my aunt too, and I wasn't even able to go to her funeral. I had so much going on in my life that I wasn't even able to go to her funeral, and it was bad. I wasn't even a drinker, but man, if I was, I promise you, I would have taken a drink or two or three and kept it going, because it was just kind of like, first of all, I was already in a bad place. I was in a bad place in my life. It's like everything that could go wrong was going wrong. And then on top of that, losing my aunt at that time, it's just like just piled on, and I was just suffering. And I remember going to a place where I was just in a room, just dark. Just don't bother me, leave me alone. I just want to be here. And it was a dark place, so I didn't do the drinking, but man, I did the deep, dark depression, leave me alone, especially with everything else that was going on in my life at that time on top of that. And so it just was not a good time for me. And so, I don't know, did you experience anything like that?
Yeah, I was always very, being a single mom, like I was very active with my little one, and we'd go to the park, we go to, walking around the neighborhood, doing activities, watching games, soccer games. And my father was a very big soccer fanatic, and, he would be taking them, but it hurt, like, in a way.
So how was you able to parent? How was you able to still be mom when you were not in a good place?
I just, as much as my father's voice wasn't physically there anymore, his morals and values are still here with me. And I use those teachings that he bestowed upon me to apply it to my son. And I felt like at one point where I was kind of dealing with my depression, and my little one wasn't getting that full attention. Like, mommy, I'm playing. Can you come play with me? I'd rather be in bed and cry. But I could hear my father and my mother like, levántate, like get up and go play with your mijo. And it's like you have to hold on to their morals and values and their teachings, because that's the only way we can preserve their memories. And you kind of embrace it to kind of move forward, to help you grow and still have a part of your parents and the people that you have lost with you. And then you bestow it upon your children to continue their legacy in a way.
Right. I remember you saying something about making sure to continue the legacy.
Yes. A lot of, really popular references, Coco movie from Disney. And, it's like the Dia de los Muertos, like we put the food, their favorite drinks, and ofrenda, which is like an offering little where you put the pictures, and we have like their favorite soda or their favorite foods, and it's like you preserve the memory because their morals and values with the foundation of the family.
Gotcha. Okay, I'm learning something new here. I'm learning here. Stay tuned. We'll be more. I can't even talk. We'll be right back with more Invisible Woman right after this. Welcome back to The Invisible Woman. We're still talking about empty spaces and ways to cope with losing a loved one. When you have that space that in your heart for that person that you love so dearly, and now that they're not physically here, you still have that space in your heart. You're still holding that. They're still holding that place in your heart. Now it's just a little bit different because you can't see them every day, and you have to find a way to cope and continue on, like you said, continue on their legacy, and you have to find a way to get through that. And I know you were saying during the break about, gosh, I'm 45, I can't even remember. You know what I'm talking about? No, we were talking about, I was asking you how you felt. Like, how do you feel?
It's very challenging, because it's been a couple of years since my parents have been not with us. And it took me a while to try to get through the grievance. And then, at a stage of my life where I'm, struggling with my stability, still struggling to maintain a roof over our head, just like, any other single mom with 3 little ones. And I find myself wanting to just get the phone and call my mom and be like, what do I do? Or how many, little...
Yeah, because you have twins, and that is, wow, I can understand wanting mom, because, wanting mom, period, but then having twins, and then, that's a lot.
But it's like, I still, that empty space that, yes, I can't touch them, I can't talk to them, but I remember, it's like I'm reteaching myself. Hey, you've lost, you've taken this loss before, and you can get yourself through it again, because their morals and values and their spirit are still in you.
Yeah.
So it's like, a bike, like you get off it a while, but then you pick it back up and you can still do it. And in the silver linings, like you use your adversities to overcome your obstacles. And a lot of times we confuse them by letting it consume us. That makes sense.
It really does. It really does. Because when I was talking about losing my aunt, and I was already in a place, bad place, like you were saying about trying to have stability, and it was just a really, I don't even want to go into detail how bad I was at that time. And then that loss just was like the next punch, like pow. And I was just like, I give up. I'm done, and it was a lot. And it took me that fight. I had to fight, like really, I really think, just being honest with you, it was God, and it was my kids. It was me saying that I have to do better for my children. I have to get better for my children. And I don't want them to see me like this. I didn't even want them to see me like that. I actually, would preserve my crying and depression time until nighttime,
Even in the shower.
Yeah, exactly. Wherever they weren't, because I don't want them to know that mommy is just not handling this well, So it was just the secret time, secret places where I just had to let it go, and it helped. It helped not holding it in. It helped letting it out and getting it out, and it helped to heal me. And I don't know what all you had to go through, but man, look what you are now. You look what you are now, surviving and thriving and doing so much better.
Yeah, definitely. For when after my father passed away, we lost, our house went into foreclosure. I had to leave, stay with a very, good friend of mine that opened her house to me and my son. I had to get separated from my siblings, and I lost, at that time too, my ex was, also, he had, he left and, found, took his relationship with another woman. So I was dealing with that aspect of things.
Yeah.
So it's just like,
yeah, so you were having a hard time too.
My job, my relationship, everything. But you have to fight on, like you said, like for your little ones, for and through the power of God, like you can get through it, and for yourself too.
Yeah.
It is hard. It is. I'm not saying it's easy. I'm not saying it's like, oh yeah, like you have to be positive, because sometimes when you're like in the biggest shithole. Like
you can't say that
word. Like in this biggest like hole that you just dug up yourself, and you just want to crawl and just cry and want everything to go away. You're gonna have to work and pull yourself out and dig those fingers into that dirt and just crawl out of it, because in the end, it's like your kids still need a roof over your head.
Right.
They still need food in their belly.
They still need mom. Yeah. And still have duties.
Exactly. And I'm very grateful, and I try to be positive about every lesson that like life wants to, provide to me, and I take it as not just a challenge of life, but like as an acceptance to just really move forward and take what I learned to just survive, because it's hard. It's very hard.
Yeah. Okay.
But
you are getting there. You are getting there. And we are going to take a look at another beautiful woman that is surviving, our Visible Woman of the Week. Stay tuned.
This week's Visible Woman of the Week spotlight goes to Miss Adriana. Adriana is the mother of 3. She is a nurse. In her spare time, she likes to make t-shirts and she likes to make flyers. Congratulations to Miss Adriana, our Visible Woman of the Week.
Welcome back to The Invisible Woman. We are still talking about empty spaces. And I think that empty spaces might not be the right title. No, honestly, the reason I say that is because, like I was saying earlier, is that, yes, they're not physically here, but they have a space in our hearts. So it's not really empty. Mm-hmm. It's full of love. It's full of joy. It's full of memories. Mm-hmm. It's things that you can pass on to your children, like you were saying about a legacy. I love that, a legacy. Yeah, so it's just, so maybe not empty spaces per se, but I understand the concept of, having that loss, because that loss it's exactly what it is. It's you're losing somebody that meant so much to you, and it's heartbreaking. But the whole point is that you don't stay in that state. You have to continue, you have to get out of that state.
Yes, because if you dwell on the past, and you dwell, just like anything, on something that you just can't have anymore, or you can't take back, or anything, it leaves you to never be able to grow yourself. And
I like that. No, I like. Oh my gosh, you're like imparting wisdom today. I love that. Okay, so you have to have that growth, and that's a part of growth. Okay, continue. I'm sorry.
No, thank you. Yeah, like I think my best advice for anybody that's going through this loss, or even just like hardship in general, you are your tool. Like you are something that you work on and that you preserve and that you treasure and that you take care of. And life is gonna give you these, like a roller coaster. You're gonna have these unexpected twists and turns, but you hang on to those bars, and that is yourself.
Hang on to the bars. No, I like that. And then when you're hanging on to the bars, guess what? It's a grip, so you can pull yourself up. You don't have to stay in the place that you are.
And that's keeping you safe.
Bars are keeping you safe. They're helping you pull up. I like that. It's helping you grow to get to the next level. And this, so how do so were your kids old enough to remember?
My oldest, I have, my oldest is 10, and he, he went through the loss, and what really amazes me is that it shows reflection on how I approached during the grievance to him. We did, of course, those services in the schools that, the counselors talks to the family and, talk about family loss. But it's more of taking the time to do it, because your children are still going to deal with their loss on their own way. But to be reassured is that you got to be there for them and show them, like, you're not alone in this. You see mommy alone? Don't. We're together on this. And always kind of redirect, like, when you're talking to your little ones about death and stuff. It's a very touchy subject. Very, very, how do you approach that topic to a child? But he, unfortunately, went through both the losses of my parents. And he was my first. I was the first grandbaby. And, it really hit him in the puppy, and then that was there.
Wow.
But it's amazing. I think the most amazing thing that I've seen through the loss of my parents is that my son was able to overcome it and really talk and have every moment remembered beautifully. He's very detailed, like, well, you can definitely get through this because the papi always had a way to get through this.
So your son was reassuring you that it was okay.
Through the teachings that my father bestowed in him. And, it kind of motivates you, like, wow, like if my 10-year-old could get through it, I can.
Right. That's amazing. And I mean, first of all, you have an amazing young man. He's a little boy. He's a little boy, but he's amazing and very gifted, smart, and just he's a pleasure to have. To be around. And so having him go through that loss, you were able to get him the counseling that he needed. You were able to get him help, and that way he can continue to be who he is. Because I would hate to see him not be the bubbly, person that we know and love.
And we did it together. It's hard. It's hard to reach out to anybody, saying like, I need you. I because you don't want to burden the person you love or anything, but don't do it alone. Even if it's sometimes if you don't have anybody, you always do have somebody to talk to.
That is the best advice. Look, if you don't take anything else from this, don't do it alone. You don't have to do it alone. So that's one of like full of wisdom. You are too young for all this wisdom. What in the world? Okay. But we're going to take a quick break. We're going to be right back with more Invisible Woman right after this short break. Can I tell you a secret? Well, it's not really a secret, but I'll tell you anyway. If you go to formerinvisiblewoman.com, no, wait, that's not right. I think it's jwinvisiblewoman.com. That's the website, but the email is formerinvisiblewoman@yahoo.com. And what you can do is tell me a little bit about yourself and submit your photo to be Invisible Woman of the Week. Yes, you can be featured on The Invisible Woman right beside me. Is that possible? Is that possible? Welcome back to the Invisible Woman. I want to say thank you to our Visible Woman of the Week. Thank you to everyone who has subscribed to my channel, like my page, share my videos. I really, really appreciate the love and the support that you guys have shown me. Big shout out to my special guest, Miss Laura. It was amazing having you on my show tonight. I want to show you guys my shirt. Look at my shirt. Okay. Check this out. Isn't that pretty? Because, it's me. Yeah, okay. Advertising my own show. Now, I didn't make the shirt, but I bought the shirt because I'm really good at buying things and making things, but I didn't make this shirt. But I just want to show off my shirt to show you guys my shirt because I think it's cute because it's me. But thank you so much for watching tonight. It was a pleasure having you guys be on the show with me because I just feel like, we're all on this together. We're all in this together. So, we are family, the family that likes each other. So, so good night. God bless. And be prepared for next week's episode. Oh, it's recording.
So do some on the other side. No, just do another part. That's cute.